No one was expecting this type of outcome. Nobody. You know, it is Sudiksha's parents' decision to make this, that they want to declare her deceased. It is sad. You know, we went through so much to try to help this girl, but I'm not going to give up, regardless if her parents wants to declare her deceased. It is the fact that she is missing and we do not know where she is. She didn't even wash up ashore after what, almost a week later. There's a big mystery to this case. Holes in people's stories, statements. People all over the internet are wondering, why did the friend leave her? Why did her friends leave her? Took her phone. Why did Joshua do the things that he did with contradictions in his statements? It's not making sense. And it's really not. Why did the parents declare her deceased so quickly? No judgments to the parents at all. No harm, no foul. That's their daughter. And our hearts go to the parents. But it is rather quick. Why? I got in so many DMs, so many messages, and people were wondering, no, I could never do that to my child. I know I could never give up on my child, regardless. I do feel sorry for the parents. But this case is still a mystery and is still ongoing, regardless of her being declared deceased by the parents. At the end of the day, she is still missing. There's a lot of new information out. Between him finally going home, I'm talking about Joshua. He's able to go home. I believe he's going to go to Puerto Rico, then back to the United States. And then he's going to continue with his life. I believe he has an appearance on the 28th. I'm not going to give up on this, but I do have some new information for you today. So is this the end of this case? Could this be? What do you guys think? Is there still a chance? Could there be more assistance, more help? Hopefully there are people that's still going to be looking for this girl still today, because I wouldn't want nobody to give up on my child, because I know I wouldn't. Do me a big favor, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button if you're brand new. Welcome to the University. This is a true crime, trending topics, breaking coverage podcast here, both live on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Nov, and let's get on with the updates.
Just moments ago, the last person known to have seen Sudiksha Konanki was in court. Now, this comes as Konanki's parents are asking authorities to declare her dead. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Ken Rice.
And I'm Christine Sorensen. Josh Riibe was on the beach in Punta Cana with Konanki. His lawyers called for today's hearing. They believe that he is being held in the Dominican Republic illegally because he has not been charged with a crime. Now, we know that officials have confiscated his passport and have had him confined to a hotel as they investigate.
Rebe has told investigators they were out in the ocean, that it was dark, they were overtaken by a wave and struggled in the water. He says he made it to the shore, became sick and passed out, thinking that Konanki also made it to shore, but there has been no sign of her since March 6th.
The inconsistencies were really quite minor, and nothing that would really make us feel as though there was anything untrue coming from Joshua. He was very open, very forthcoming with his answers, and didn't seem to hesitate on answering any of the questions that we threw his way.
Mike Chapman is the sheriff in Loudoun County, Virginia, where Konanki's family lives. 2 of his detectives went to the Dominican Republic last week to interview Ribe. And another turn in the story, Konanki's parents wrote a letter to investigating authorities asking them to declare their daughter legally deceased, noting that at this point there has been no evidence of foul play.
So what could be behind the parents asking authorities to declare their daughter dead? Is it a request for closure or for legal reasons?
KDK consumer investigator Megan Schiller talked with a local lawyer and joins us now from the Pitt campus.
Sudiksha Konanki's classmates are back from spring break here at the University of Pittsburgh. But we also know that her parents are back home now in Virginia and that they're now making a formal request. We're told that request came in the form of a letter sent by Sudiksha Konanki's parents to the Dominican Republic National Police. Her parents want police to declare her dead. And new today, law enforcement in her home state of Virginia say the parents believe she drowned.
I think it was very clear. This is what's called a power play.
Pittsburgh attorney Phil DeLacente believes this is a strategic move and wouldn't be surprised if the parents' legal counsel suggested it.
They want to make sure that all the rescue and efforts and capital and all the money that's being put into this investigation, that it be just focused on who did this to my child, not where is my child, not what happened as far as there being a potential rescue. So the parents are very strategic.
Another reason to declare a missing person deceased includes processing a person's estate, but the timing depends on the missing person's home state.
A lot of times it's for insurance purposes, a lot of times it's for estate. But as you know, she's from Virginia. That's a 7-year that has to pass before you could be declared deceased. So same as Pennsylvania.
Meaning the state of Virginia's code says 7 years need to pass before a missing person is presumed dead. It also states if a person disappears in a foreign country and the body is not found, then the Department of State can issue a report of presumptive death. DeLacente adds a death certificate will need to say one of 4 things.
Manner of deaths, once again, accidental, suicide, unknown, homicide. We just don't know yet, Megan.
And also new today from the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, Sudiksha's parents have now expressed their belief that she drowned. The Sheriff's Office saying, quote,
Okay, that part is strange to me because they originally said that they don't believe. They didn't believe that. And now that they do. See, this case, okay. I'm not saying nothing like strange about the parents or anything, but the actions from everyone is a bit unorthodox. From the friends just left. Sudiksha vanished. Guys, listen to me when I tell you something. She vanished. Vanish is the perfect word here. Okay? Her body didn't come back to shore, which it highly likely it should have if she drowned. She's not buried in no sand. They would have found her. If she didn't come back with him, we would have noticed that. She vanished. Parents gave up. I don't want to say gave up on her. They quickly, very, very quickly decided to say she is deceased. She disappeared, vanished. Josh has, I don't know what that guy was saying he says minor. It wasn't no minor. He consistently contradicted himself. Right? And the friends. All 4, no matter how you see it, it's like the friends, Josh, she's gone, the parents so quickly. It's like, damn, it's like, she's gone, done, we're done. She didn't exist. Damn, she's a human being. Guys, she's a human being. She's gone. That's a little too quick. I don't like this. I don't care. I don't like this, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not liking this. And no.
Quote, while a final decision to make sure a declaration rests with the authorities in the Dominican Republic, we will support the Konanki family in every way possible. But it is important to point out that her body has not been found.
Exactly. That's the point that I'm making. Her body has not been found. I think it's time for me to tell you what I believe what happened to her, guys. I'm going to tell you my opinion with my research at the end of this podcast.
Reporting here on campus at the University of Pittsburgh, I'm Megan Schiller, KDK News.
Okay. Parents, speak out. Sudiksha's parents, speak out.
And the woman believed to be, or the man rather, believed to be the last to have been seen with that missing Loudoun County student Sudiksha Konanki appearing in court. This is video from the Dominican Republic. This is coming in the last hour. That's Joshua Riibe trying to get access to his passport. Remember, his passport was taken away from him as Sudiksha was reported missing. He is trying to leave the Dominican Republic and come back to the United States, and of course he'll need his passport for that. It all comes as the Loudoun County family is now asking Dominican Republic officials to declare her dead, even though her body has yet to be found. Today we heard from her family for the first time.
It is with deep sadness and heavy. Nana. And heavy heart that we are coming to the terms with the fact that our daughter has drowned. This is incredibly difficult for us to process. We kindly ask you to keep our daughter in your prayers. We still have 2 young children to care of her.
This is tragic.
That was Sudiksha's family today. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office also releasing a statement this afternoon, which in part reads the Sudiksha family has expressed their belief that she drowned, while a final decision to make such a declaration rests with authorities in the Dominican Republic. We will support the Konanki family in every way possible as we continue to review the evidence and information made available to us in the course of this investigation. And again, maybe we can show that court shot one more time. These are live pictures right now from the Dominican Republic. As again, that person who was named as a person of interest, Joshua Riibe, is seeking to get his passport back to travel back to the United States so he can get back to his life. And you see the family there saying that they don't believe that he was involved in what they are saying is the death of their daughter. Joining us now is international law professor at Cleveland State University, Milena Stereo, with us. Horrific to hear that family. You can't even put yourself in their shoes, because it absolutely, they don't have a body, they don't have final closure, but they are, given the evidence that we have at this hour, believe that she did drown. Is it that easy to ask for a declaration of death?
What was that she just said?
Horrific to hear that family. You can't even put yourself in their shoes, because it absolutely, they don't have a body, they don't have final closure, but they are, given the evidence that we have at this hour, believe that she did drown.
What evidence were they given to believe that she was drowned? I'm sorry, excuse me? Last time I checked, there's no foul play, right? There's no evidence to say that Joshua even did it. Even though I think that Joshua is not consistent, even though I 100% believe he knows something. Something went down on that beach. You do not just not know anything, and you was the only one close to her, with her, kissing her, holding her. But still, there's no evidence that he did it. But there's evidence to think that she drowned? No, there's not. No, there's not. There's no body. What evidence could you have found? What tells you she drowned? That she was just there? We don't know anything. We don't know. She could have been kidnapped. She could have been taken away. That's one possibility. We don't have any evidence of anything. There's nothing. That is why this case is what? These people got to get their words correct here. We got to be very civil here. You must remember, there is no body. But to think that they declared her deceased after 11, 12 days, what if she comes back? But then yet they declare her dead. That wouldn't be nice.
Is it that easy to ask for a declaration of death?
No, it is certainly not easy to ask for a declaration of death, but however horrific that might be, there might be advantages for the family to have closure and to be able to have legal closure in particular, because if she is declared dead, then the family can proceed to make arrangements in the United States. And so however horrific that might seem, there might be legal reasons as to why the family would like to have this declaration of death.
Does this declaration have anything to do with the ongoing investigation, though? Does it have any impact on this investigation?
No, I believe that it does not, because the investigation is being carried out by the authorities of the Dominican Republic. It is true that the local sheriff's office has offered to provide support, but the U.S. sheriff obviously has no jurisdiction in the Dominican Republic. And so the declaration of death is simply for the purposes of the family here in the United States to be able to make legal arrangements and other arrangements. It has no impact on the investigation in the Dominican Republic.
Got you.
So I imagine, I mean, as horrible as it sounds, you don't know what happened to your daughter. There is no body to offer any sort of autopsy to look for some clues or answers. Is this it? Is this where the road ends? We see Joshua Riibe, that person of interest, at court getting his passport back. He'll fly back to the United States. The Dominican Republic authorities, they have no authority here. I mean, is this the end of the road?
Yes and no. It might be that Joshua Riibe is allowed to travel back to the United States. He gets his passport back. He's no longer a person of interest. However, if the Dominican authorities were to find out later on that he did indeed commit a criminal act, they could request his extradition from the United States back to the Dominican Republic. It is very unlikely that the United States would extradite a U.S. citizen to a foreign country. In that situation, if there's solid evidence that he has committed a crime in the Dominican Republic, the United States could also go ahead and launch an investigation and a possible prosecution. So, in other words, it ends for now, but it might not end forever. There might be further legal proceedings if there's evidence uncovered that Joshua Riibe actually committed a crime.
Gotcha. It is, I mean, I'm sitting here trying to grapple with this, and I haven't seen this often. Do you often see things like this where a family just says, okay, listen, let's just go to the press and say, we want to declare our child gone?
It is fairly unusual, obviously.
It is unusual. Again, I am not trying to... Listen, I feel bad for the family. I do. It is unusual. Let's keep it real in this chat. It is. You know it is. I don't understand how. I don't know how why are they doing this? Thomas with the 10 says, he sure seems to be in a big hurry to come back home, to come back. Thomas, thank you so much for the 10. Thomas, I really appreciate you. And for the gifted, dude. Thomas, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much. So, Thomas, I'm going to be honest with you. Whether guilty or not, he's not in the atmosphere which you would call home. Anyone would kind of feel rushed to go back home, to be honest. I would too. Like, if I know I really didn't do nothing and I didn't do anything, I would want to go home because I would feel uncomfortable. I would feel he's not surrounded by his friends and family and loved ones. So that I understand. But he has been cooperative. But being cooperative doesn't necessarily mean that you're innocent. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means that you are cooperative. You can also think as people who want to get away want to be cooperative. I'm not saying that he's guilty and he did something. I cannot say that. And that's not what I'm saying. But I do have an opinion to believe that he knows more than what he's telling us, especially with the contradictions, and just doesn't add up, doesn't make sense. We got professional investigators, FBI, are saying the same thing that I am. It doesn't take to be an investigator or human being or a podcaster to know that something is off here. Anyone with eyes and ears could know. It's just, you know, the law, the structure, the justice system is far from perfect. You can get away with a lot of things. You can get away with a lot of things. Because if it was perfect, everyone who committed a crime would be in jail. Thomas says, I get University. Thomas, thank you so much. I'm never missing your comments for Super Chats. I'll tell you that. You're always doing it. Thank you so much, Thomas.
This is going to be specific and different for each family. It is understandable why different families would react differently in this type of a situation. Yeah. But it is true sometimes when people go missing that families prefer to have closure for lots of legal reasons. They would like to be able to make arrangements here in the United States. It is completely understandable as to why they would want to have her declared dead, which obviously we all hope that she's not. But legally speaking, there might be solid reasons as to why to proceed this way.
And one last thing, even though I imagine a court will have to say, yes, we will declare a death like you have asked us, if there were to be any sort of evidence or probable cause that something else happened, unknown what, they could reopen the investigation and turn that back?
Absolutely. Dominican Republic authorities can always reopen the investigation. As you said earlier, at that point, it's going to be a question of being able to arrest the suspect again, assuming that it's Joshua Riibe. It could be someone else. We really don't know as of this point. But if it were to be him, if there were to be evidence uncovered that it's him, then the Dominican authorities could reopen the investigation and they could ask the United States to extradite him back to the Dominican Republic so that he can actually be detained and arrested and prosecuted there.
So there is.
I think the Dominican Republic, the justice system over there, especially law enforcement, they're going to be on this case, regardless of what the parents are saying about the daughter. Let me tell you something. People really, like, damn, I don't want to say this, but I'm not going to be fake here. A lot of people are upset about the parents, that them doing this. I get it, and I feel so terrible for them. But a lot of people are not happy with the decision, and I do understand that. I'm going to be honest with you. Chad. I'm going to be honest with you. Law enforcement over there, they know how big this case is. Let's be honest. When it comes to jurisdiction, one corporation versus the next one, people want credit. In the Dominican Republic, it happened on their turf. And now FBI, people want to get in this. The law enforcement over there is going to want to crack this case. And I hope they're taking this very seriously. Not saying that they aren't, because they have. They have been putting people on the boots on the ground. But I don't think they're going to give up so quickly, because they can extradite them. If they find some type of footage, they are scavenging, trying to find something. They want to solve this. Trust me. Big time. Bree, thank you so much for the $9.99. Bree, thank you. Every day, girl. Thank you. She says, did you hit the like and share? Well, did you? Did you guys? Did you saw what Bree just said? Did you hit the like button? Bree, only 192 people have Bree. Thank you, guys. It's okay. Spyman with the 5 super chat says, you need an autopsy to prove manner of death, and there is no body. That is true. Give me your opinions on the chat. Spyman, good job. Chat, can I ask you guys a personal question? YouTube and Facebook. We are allowed to have opinions in the chat. We are not thinking bad of no one. Why do you think the parents did this so quickly? It's just a question. That is all. It is just a question. Why do you think that? I just want your opinion. I just want to know. I want to pick your brain, and I want to hear different opinions. Okay, let's continue.
Francie Hakes. Francie, Rebe is obviously anxious to go home. The judge ruled in his favor today, but it's not quite so simple. It might take some time before he actually gets his passport back.
Well, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the judge has said that he's being unlawfully detained, but that maybe there's a question as to who exactly has his passport. So there's another hearing scheduled, I believe, for March 28th to determine where his passport is or to give him his passport back. It's all a little bit confusing for those of us that are used to American justice, Elizabeth.
I don't understand how they can keep this kid in this hotel against his will for all these weeks.
Well, I'm guessing the Dominican Republic does not have a constitution the way we do here in the United States, or at least a Bill of Rights that is like ours. However, Elizabeth, I have to say, even though they say he's not a suspect, I'm not sure why they've made that decision. An awful lot of the statements that he's made in the investigation of this case make no sense to me if he is completely innocent.
What doesn't make sense to you? What troubles you?
Well, it troubles me that he says that after a little while they were kissing in the water and then a big wave hit them. So far, I'm good with that. But then Sudiksha was in distress. And so he had to tow her to shore under his arm, which really doesn't make any sense. He says he's a trained lifeguard. That's not how you tow someone to shore, under your arm. I've also had lifeguard training, and that is not how you do it. And then he says of this young woman who was half his size. He has to tow her to shore because she's in such distress, but then he leaves her in knee-deep water. And then he says he vomits a whole bunch of seawater, and in the meantime, she disappears. So he manages to get himself out of the water, but he doesn't get the woman who's apparently in danger of drowning out of the water. That doesn't make any sense. But Elizabeth, the biggest red flag to me here is that you've got a 22-year-old wrestler, former wrestler, who gets back to his room after he says sunrise, which was hours before he says it was. He gets back to his room, and after this incredible heroics by him, where he saves a girl's life, according to his own story, he tells no one anything about it. Now, if you save a girl from drowning, if you're vomiting seawater, if you have this incredible experience on the beach in Punta Cana, what's the first thing you do?
Tell your friends.
Tell your roommate.
She just said everything that we just been saying, especially that last part. Oh my God, this shit makes, bro, everybody, oh my God, this shit, y'all, this girl, this case is haunting me so bad, bro. I need to solve, I want to help. This shit, yo, bro, bro, there's no fucking, yo, good job, lady. What is this lady's name? Good job. Very well said. Thank you, Cat Eyes. I appreciate you. Congratulations on your first 1 month of Novacity. Enjoy that badge.
You tell your friends. Exactly. And he not only didn't do that, he just went to sleep. He didn't check on her. He didn't call the authorities. He didn't see if she was okay. Remember, her cover-up was still down on the beach. Did he not notice that when he left? That makes no sense. So his story is internally inconsistent to me with someone who's completely innocent.
Just very quickly, what do you make of the fact that her parents have not only said we don't think Riibe did anything to hurt her, but we want her declared officially dead? They have given up hope of finding her alive.
Well, Elizabeth, it's incredibly sad, and I don't really blame them. They don't know if they should be grieving. They don't know if they should be hopeful. I think it's easier for them to think that things are over and they should just be grieving and that nothing terrible happened to her in the sense of some kind of assault, that it was just an accidental drowning. I think it might make them feel a little more comforted that way.
Yeah, such a sad, sad story. She had her whole life in front of her, pre-med student at the University of Pittsburgh. Very, very sad. Francie Hakes, always great to talk to you. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Christy Hakes. I'm gonna look into you. Kristen, girl. Kristen. Thank you. I think he made sure he made it out. She was, oh, sorry. Let's put that back. I didn't, so sorry about that. He made it out. She was taken by the next wave because she never gained the ground of stability. He knows that, so he has a conscience of guilt. Can't until question because it is sus. It does, that first sentence. That was another thing that we talked about. He did it, Kristen. I'm so glad you wrote that first sentence. And Kristen, I think you was the one that said selfish. Let me tell you something. Kristen, that word you said the other day, I remember it was you and somebody else, along with that first sentence. It really did sound like the kid. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to tie into my things that I want to say, but I'm going to give you guys my opinion of what happened at the end of the podcast. This fucking kid, and I'm getting mad. Yes, I am. When I curse, I get mad. Yo, I'm getting mad. Guys, this fucking kid, bro. He wanted to sound like he was some fucking superhero, bro. He wanted to sound like he was a fucking superhero. I saved her life. I did. You didn't! Because if you did, she would still be here. You didn't. And now you have people calling your bullshit. You do. You have people calling your bullshit because I don't know how, if you was to able to grab somebody under your arms and bring them back, and you said she was walking towards her clothes, for her to get back in that water, get the fuck out. I'm trying not to curse. I'm sorry. It's really hard not to curse, especially me. I'm from New York. But I know you guys, some of you guys, I know you don't like the cursing, but I'm trying my best. I'm just mad because it doesn't make sense. Stop acting like you're some hero and you're not. Stop. You did not do no. Fuck. Oh, God, dude. I can't. I cannot. I can't. No one, we don't know what happened in that water. We don't know. We really don't know. But why are you telling me things like if you want me to be a hero and you're taking off the shine over a missing girl?
Caribbean, what have you here. We got to go to the Dominican Republic for some major updates on a story we have been following now for almost 2 weeks. We have a live picture there outside the courthouse in the Dominican Republic, and I believe this is in Punta Cana, not Santo Domingo. In the meantime, though, remember the case of the missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki. Well, the person, the young man who was last seen with her, has now been embroiled and implicated, and questions have arisen about what he knew in relation to her disappearance. And he has been in the Dominican Republic since all of this has unfolded. He appeared before a judge today there in the DR, and the judge just ruled that that man last seen with her, with Konanki, is being unlawfully detained in the Dominican Republic. And so wanted to let you get up to speed on this. We did hear from the parents of Konanki today outside their home in Loudoun County in Virginia. She vanished, remember, 2 weeks ago in Punta Cana, and her parents asked authorities there to declare her legally dead. Now, in a letter to Dominican police dated yesterday, her parents state that after an extensive search, local authorities believe that Sudiksha, she was 20 years old, drowned. Now, a police official who was not authorized to speak about the case confirmed today authorities received the letter. Now, Michael Chapman, the sheriff of Loudoun County in Virginia, where the Konankis live, said in a statement today, officials have been working with Dominican authorities and continue to review evidence in the case here. But that is the news today, that Rebe is his last name, Joshua Rebe. A judge has agreed that he is being unlawfully detained in the Dominican Republic. I want to put this post up on social media. Nate Foy, Fox News correspondent, our friend there, with it, saying the judge has agreed that Joshua Rebe is being unlawfully detained in the Dominican Republic. He says this: there will be another hearing on March the 28th where Rebe is expected to receive an explanation about the location of his passport. Foy also reporting he can move around freely within the Dominican Republic in anticipation of his hearing on the 28th. So, this is seemingly slow moving. After the result of this court hearing today, Rebe can now move around freely within the country itself, but he can't leave the United States just yet. Maybe that answer will come at the hearing that's scheduled for the 28th about whether he can get his passport back. This was the scene earlier today there in the courtroom, I believe in Santo Domingo there, where you had lawyers who were representing Rebe there. His father also testified on his behalf, his father there on hand for this. And so we did hear this. Remember, there was Spanish and English going on there in the courtroom. I do want to let you listen to the moments, I believe, this answer came down from the judge there in the Dominican Republic. Let's listen.
To Dominican judiciary and all institutions involved in the Joshua Stephen Riibe case for recognizing and upholding the rule of law, ensuring respect for his fundamental rights as a foreign citizen in the Dominican Republic. From the outset, our firm was retained by the Riibe family to defend the fundamental rights and ensure compliance with due process as established in Article 69 of the Dominican Constitution. We sincerely appreciate the cooperation provided by the U.S. Embassy's consular agency in Bávaro, which has supported the family throughout this process. As a leading firm assisting foreign clients in the country, Guzman Ariza reaffirms its commitment to defending due process and protecting the fundamental rights of all individuals in the Dominican Republic, both citizens and foreign nationals. We firmly believe in the importance of preserving the rule of law, not only as an essential principle of justice, but also as a cornerstone of trust in our institutions and the image of our value tourism industry. We acknowledge the professional solidarity to the family of Sudiksha Konanki during these difficult times, joining in the collective hope for her safe return as soon as possible. Thank you.
Que se va hacia los Estados Unidos, puede salir, puede volver a su país.
No, que le regresen el pasaporte. ¿Qué van a hacer con esa decisión? Doctor. Muchísimas gracias.
Solo para confirmar que puede volver a los Estados Unidos.
All right, so very brief there. That was the lawyer of 22-year-old Joshua Riibe there explaining his case and what the judge had said there. To so many reporters gathered there, and I misspoke. That's not in the capital, Santo Domingo. It is in Punta Cana, the resort town there. And also, Joshua Riibe's dad, he was on hand for all of this alongside of his son, and reporters tried to catch up with him as well. He said no comment. You didn't get to see this live. We want to show it to you now.
They're not going to give you back the passport to your son. Are you going to appeal?
So what would you say to parents who are contemplating if their kids should come here for spring break?
No comment and respect the Sudiksha's family.
No, about your own son's situation, sir, how he's been treated.
No
Iowa?
and respect the Sudiksha's family.
Are you able to take him back home?
I don't even know where he's at right now.
Okay, so you heard there a lot of the reporters shouting questions at Joshua Riibe's father there, but he said no comment. He also extended his condolences to the Konanki family here. So just a little bit more about this case, if you haven't been following it very closely. I want to let you know a little more details. So this judge there in the Dominican ruled in favor of Joshua Riibe's writ of habeas corpus in the March 6th disappearance of Sudiksha Konanki from a Punta Cana resort. He appeared in court today. He's been held in the disappearance of Konanki. She's 20, and she's been missing since the early morning hours of March 6th. So he has not been named, remember, a suspect in the case. This has been considered a missing person case from the very beginning, not a criminal one. He's 22 years old. He appeared with his father, as you just saw, as prosecutors there argue that the witness's freedom has not been limited while he's been held in the Dominican after his passport was confiscated, and that he has the right to walk around the resort there without issue. So he's no longer being detained or in detention within the country itself. He's free to travel around the country, from my understanding, though he does not have his passport back just yet to return to the United States. So it was not immediately clear when he would be able to leave the country. Remember, Nate Foy reported in the conclusion after the hearing today, there will be another hearing.
From my understanding, Puerto Rico is the destination. That is the destination where he's going to be going.
Officials continue to search for the body of a missing University of Pittsburgh student who vanished while on spring break in the Dominican Republic.
Her parents now say they believe she drowned. Fox News correspondent Bill Malusian has the story.
Just with deep sadness.
I'm a little confused. Wait a minute. Like, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they say earlier that they believe that their daughter didn't drown? I should probably check my notes. I hope I'm not mistaken that. I hope so. Brown Sugar with the 5 Cash App. She says, host with knowledge, compassion, top tier. Brown Sugar, you're so kind. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
The Dominican Republic asking for their daughter to be legally declared dead.
We believe 100% in the authorities' investigation.
In that letter, Konanki's parents say Dominican authorities have found no evidence of foul play in their daughter's disappearance. The 20-year-old college student went missing nearly 2 weeks ago while on spring break in Punta Cana. The last person to see her, St. Cloud University student Joshua Riibe. While Rebe was never named as a suspect in the case, he was detained and questioned extensively by Dominican investigators. He alleges investigators took away his passport and cell phone during the process. Tuesday, he was in a Dominican court asking a judge to return that passport and allow him to leave the country. Rebe saying he's done all he can to help.
Firmly believe in the importance of preserving the rule of law, not only as an essential principle of justice, but also as a cornerstone of trust in our institutions and the image of our value tourism.
But remember that date, March 28th. That's the date where we're going to be coming back and talking about this for sure.
For the first time, we're now seeing
guys, do me a big favor. Hit that like button if you have it on YouTube. We haven't even hit 300 yet. If you can, just takes a second. If you can hit that like button, I would appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Also, if you are brand new, hit the red subscribe button. I know sometimes people hit it twice and it unsubscribes you. You have to make sure that it says subscribed, past tense. And it's the red button. When you press the X on your phone to exit the chat, you see the red subscribe button. Okay? Thank you guys so much.
Hearing from the witness in the case of a college student missing on spring break.
Yeah, he's not a suspect and says he wants to go home now, and a judge is weighing in. Here's ABC's Rhiannon Nally.
The man police believe was the last to see missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki alive appeared before a judge in the Dominican Republic, pleading to be allowed to return home. Minnesota college student Joshua Rebe saying in court, "I understand I'm here to help, but it's been 10 days and I can't leave." Rebe has not been charged with a crime.
I mean, bro, you was the last one with her. That's why it has been 10 days. I don't know why you're complaining about that. That I don't like. That I really don't like. 10 days? You think you can't sacrifice 10 days of your life as a 22-year-old guy versus a 20-year-old girl that you was last with? You're complaining about 10 fucking days? It's been 10 days. So fucking what? So what? 10 days. And they also told you that there's no so far you're a person of interest, not even a suspect. You have been claimed not a suspect, and you're complaining about 10 days? Are you kidding me? You can't dedicate 10 days to a missing girl who could now be dead, who the parents said they believe she is dead. Even after that, you can't dedicate 10 days to at least finding the body?
Help, but it's been 10 days and I can't leave. Rebe has not been charged with a crime. He was with Konanki the night she went missing on the beach, saying they got hit by a large wave and saying he helped her back toward shore and thought she went back to her room. Rebe's family claims he's being detained illegally.
Are you able to take him back home? I don't even know where he's at right now.
The judge yesterday handed Rebe a partial victory, saying he'll no longer be under police surveillance, but the judge refused to return his passport. Konanki's parents have now acknowledged their daughter likely drowned after being shown how high the waves were that night. The Konankis referencing Rebe without naming him, saying he is cooperating with the investigation and no evidence of foul play has been found. Rebe telling the judge before Konanki's family left the Dominican Republic, they thanked him and gave me hugs goodbye. Officials say the search for Konanki has been significantly scaled back. The next court hearing is March 28th, when the judge could allow Rebe to go home. Brianna and Alley, ABC News, New York.
That shit, that got to me, man. That really got to me. If I know I did absolutely nothing.
And now let's go to our top story for you as the family of missing University of...
I'll be like, listen, guys, this girl was under my care. I hugged her. I kissed her. I liked her. And she's missing. She's from the same country as me. And I'm the only one that was with her. I can dedicate 2 weeks with you guys. I can stay here for 2 weeks. You guys are paying for my hotel to stay? Oh, okay. I can stay here for 2 weeks. I can dedicate that. This is my spring break anyway. This is not going to interfere with my classes or nothing. Okay, I'll do it. 2 weeks. I'm here to help her. I want to help her. This girl is missing. And I was the last one with her. I can do 2 weeks. No problem, guys. I would. Yes. Fuck. We're not talking about a kid. This is a 22-year-old man. Stop saying child. Stop saying kid, because he's not. 22-year-old man. You're getting confused here. Stop that. Because he looks like this? Anyone would look like that if you're not from there. Shit, I would too. Because I'm not comfortable. He's out of his comfort state.
University of Pittsburgh student is requesting that officials officially declare their daughter dead, believing she drowned off the coast of the Dominican Republic. The last known person
is gone. Like, guys, you need to really think about this for a second. No, I need you to think about this, okay? Just let's imagine this. Imagine the movie Taken. Anything can happen. This girl's it's every day that she's gone and the body's not drifting. It increases her chance that it is a probability she's been kidnapped. She could be right now while he's complaining about 10 days, while the parents written her off as dead. She could be very much alive, cold in somebody's fucking locked up basement in DR. I don't want to say the rest. Getting harmed, getting trafficked. This could be happening. It's like, boom, done, I'm done. Everybody's giving up, done. If you ask me, 10 days of your life, of your fucking life, I want you to times 365 by 90. You can't dedicate that many fucking days? 10 days? You complain? I've been here for 10 days. Great. I gave you your flowers, Josh. You have been cooperating. You was on the beach pointing and stuff. Even though your fucked up story makes no sense, you have been cooperating. But for 10 days, dude, that's cold as fuck if you ask me, man.
See her, Joshua Riibe. He's in court yesterday, or was in court yesterday, fighting against what his attorneys call illegal detention. And Well Bajorquez was at that court hearing and has this report from Punta Cana.
As you know, 22-year-old Joshua Riibe has not been named a suspect here in the Dominican Republic. He has not been charged with anything. He has been a witness in this investigation. And therefore, the judge said yesterday that he should not be detained. Riibe told that judge that he was surrounded by police at all times while he was at the hotel. Even to leave, they needed a police escort. The judge said, look, he's a witness. He doesn't deserve that kind of treatment. So the judge's ruling really paves the way for Riibe to be able to return to the United States, but there's a question of his passport. The judge did not clearly address that. Riibe has said that it was confiscated by authorities. So we're waiting to see if perhaps he reaches out to the U.S. Embassy for some assistance getting home. The family of Konanki, Sudiksha Konanki, tearfully said yesterday that they do believe that this was an accidental drowning. And in fact, in court yesterday, Riibe acknowledged to the judge that when the family was here, those parents looking for answers, that they gave him a hug. They said that they believed him, and that they said, thank you for trying to save our daughter.
He did say he saved her. He pulled her out of the water. But yet she's not here. Peggy, thank you for the $4.99. Her friends, shame on them too. I think like you know. Peggy, thank you so much. You know, I'm not putting too much on the friends here. Yeah, I would have never taken her phone ever. I don't know who would take her phone. I think that's silly. Manan became a member over at Facebook. Manan, welcome to the family over at Facebook. Enjoy that badge. I appreciate you so much for becoming a member. You too can become a member on Facebook or YouTube. Get your priority, your chat, your perks, everything in between. You are mean. You are part of the nation. This is your vacation. I promise you. You'll like it. Join us. Join the family. Members Live is on Mondays. Again, I missed this Monday because we had the coverage that back to back to back. Shout out to all my Facebook people. YouTube, give my Facebook people, two different worlds, but at the same time, you guys are my family. Join the family and your perks. And yeah. Let's move on with the program here. Teresa with the one gifted membership. She just gave something out to somebody for free. Thank you so much, Teresa. I appreciate that.
There are possible new developments in the disappearance of an American college student on spring break in the Dominican Republic. A source is telling ABC News that the prosecutor's office will give Joshua Riibe his passport back.
So they're giving his passport back, and he is going to PR.
Tomorrow. Now, he is the man believed to be the last person to have seen Sudiksha Konanki before she vanished on spring break. Now, this coming after the 22-year-old testified in court yesterday amid his fight to return to the United States. A Dominican judge ruling that he is free now to move about without police surveillance throughout the country because, again, he is only a witness of an accident, not a suspect. ABC News' Ariel Reshef has been on this from the beginning and is joining us now from Punta Cana. Ariel, thank you for being here with us. A surprising development here from the prosecutor's office saying they will try to give Riibe his passport back, though it does appear that might be easier said than done. What more do we know about that?
Well, Kane, I would just say we should pump the brakes for a minute because I will tell you behind the scenes here, there have been so many twists and turns, so many false starts in this case. So we'll see if that actually happens. But I will tell you that yesterday in the court, it was a total spectacle. And after that, the lawyers for Joshua Riibe said that they were going to apply with the U.S. Embassy to get him a new passport. The U.S. Embassy told us earlier today communication is happening with Mr. Riibe, his family, and his lawyer, and they are providing all appropriate consular services. And also, our team at the U.S. State Department asked in Washington, and they said, we are aware of the situation, certainly, and we take this seriously, our commitment to assist U.S. citizens abroad. So, what can we surmise here? It appears that perhaps all of that pressure may have made these prosecutors finally acquiesce to giving back this passport. But we should note here in the Dominican Republic, it is illegal to hold anyone who has not faced any charges for more than 48 hours. Joshua Riibe's attorneys have said that he's been held from the very beginning, that he's been cooperating with authorities. They confiscated his passport and his phone on March 8th. His attorneys arguing that has been illegal from the very start. So it remains to be seen if by tomorrow Joshua Riibe will get his passport back and be able to fly back home.
Wow, what a dramatic turn of events there, Ariel. Also, it's our understanding here that your sources are saying Konanki's family sent a formal request, right, to the Dominican police saying that they should declare their daughter dead. What does that mean for the search and rescue efforts that were ongoing?
Yeah, really a tragic situation, a tragic development that we had learned about. We know that they sent a request by a letter to the police to declare their daughter dead so that they can really close this painful chapter in their lives and hopefully move on in their grief. But we do know that the police say that the investigation is still ongoing, that the search is still ongoing, but they have indicated that it is starting to wind down. But it really is up to the prosecutors, the police, and all of the authorities here to decide the course of this investigation. Kana?
He is not back in the U.S., guys. So somebody said that he's not back in the U.S. That's not correct information. University, I am mad about this. I cried so hard. I can't believe the mom had to stand there while the dad pulled her back. Yeah. It was sad. It was sad. Regardless of their decision to make, I don't agree with it, but I'm still sad for the parents. At the end of the day, they lost their daughter. Yeah. And it scares me. It scares me, chat, because one day I'm going to wake up and it's going to say, breaking news, they found her. Breaking news, she washed up. Breaking news, she's on the sand or something. Can it not be just one case where she's just found, she escaped? I want a hero ending. I want an ending where it's like that, Well, I know that this girl has some type of justice, because if people can't give her one, she can get it for herself. I am so fucking sad about this. I am so sad. Chad, I'm like sad. I don't want this for... Guys, let me tell you something. If any single one of you, if any one of you in the chat, any one of you, Brenda, Rashid, Breezy, Island Girl, Cole, Brenda, Netta, Neil, even you males, if you were just taken, kidnapped, like you vanished, you would want somebody to reach out for you if you were locked up, taken away, drugged, whatever it may be. If you cannot escape or wherever you're at, you would want to be rescued, regardless of what gender you are, who you are, what status you have. You would want to be found and rescued. You would, and whatever person you was last with, you would want to pray every single day, please, Joshua, find me, like help me or someone. You may talk all that shit now, but you need to be in the predicament you are in. And I only use the movie Taken as a reference because that stuff happens. Like, we get missing children, never been found for decades. Like, come on, never been found ever again. Trafficking, human trafficking, child, whatever, it's real. That shit is real life. Not saying that this happened to her, it's a possibility, but these things happen. Stop thinking this shit is always in the movies. Where do you think the directors and writers get the idea from? It's not a game. This shit is real out here. Konanki, she's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. It's real.
Scene inside a Dominican courthouse for the man last seen with missing U.S. college student Sudiksha Konanki. The judge ruled that Rebe no longer needs to be under police supervision in the DR, but Rebe's lawyers say his passport was confiscated, and Dominican lawyers say they don't know where it is. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. What a mess, a legal mess. Not only is it unclear where Sudiksha Konanki is or what happened to her, the man she was reportedly last seen with on the beach doesn't have his passport, and it's unclear when he will get it back. Now, before we get to the latest on the story we've been following out of the Caribbean, I do want to bring you up to speed on a new project we're working on here at Law and Crime. It's a new YouTube channel. Dad and his attorneys made their way into a courtroom in the Dominican Republic. This video, courtesy Dominican media outlet El Nuevo Diario. Rebe claims that he was under police supervision and confined to his room as authorities searched for Sudiksha Konanki, and he says his passport was confiscated by authorities as well. Rebe is not charged with a crime, and Dominican authorities have called him a witness in the missing persons case of Sudiksha Konanki. The 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student vanished after she and Rebe went for a swim in the early morning hours of March 6th. Now, we'll rehash more of Rebe's version of events in a little bit, but let's get back to what happened in court, where Dominican authorities painted a very different version of events than what Rebe's attorneys have been arguing. They claim that Rebe was not confined to his hotel and was not being held in custody. They said he is a witness and has not been accused of a crime. The judge sided with Rebe, saying he can no longer be under police supervision. But when it comes to his passport, things get a little more complicated. Rebe says authorities took it. According to CNN, Dominican authorities still have it. When he could get it back, that's unclear. A prosecutor told NBC News outside the hearing that he, quote, doesn't know about the passport. And the judge said that his courtroom yesterday was not the place to decide what happens related to that document. Rebe has another court hearing set for March 28th, which is 9 days from now, but it's unclear if he'll be at that hearing or if he will find a way out of the country. His attorneys tell CNN they're working on getting a new passport. While Rebe finds himself not only in the middle of an international search for a missing person, he also finds himself in the middle of this legal mess in the Dominican Republic. But back in the United States, the family of the girl that he was last seen with, as of yesterday, they say they are just looking for closure.
It is with deep sadness and heavy.
Just emotional video from outside Sudiksha's home, just outside of Washington, D.C. This is per...
That's really sad. Chat, give me 1 second. I don't mean to be so dismissive, but I think that there is a little update because what time is it? It's he just touched down in San Juan, Puerto Rico a couple hours ago. So he must have just got to the United States. Keep in mind that Puerto Rico is part of the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Because I'm looking at the time. It says San Juan, 6:17 is not domestically United States. San Juan, Puerto Rico at 6:17. So he is either on his way or he just touched the United States. I'm reading it right now. This is breaking news. Yeah. I'll get to that article with you guys.
Calling for Dominican authorities to declare their daughter dead. Just think about how difficult a decision it is to not only come to that conclusion, but then publicly have to go out and talk to cameras and explain your reason why you want authorities to make that decision. This week, they also sent this letter. It was first obtained by Fox News to Dominican investigators reading, quote, following an extensive search, Dominican authorities have concluded that Sudiksha is believed to have drowned. Her clothes were discovered on a beach near where she was last seen. The individual last seen with her is cooperating with the investigation and no evidence of foul play has been found. Given these circumstances, and after much deliberation, we request that the police department proceed with the legal declaration of her death. We understand that certain legal procedures must be followed and are prepared to comply with any necessary formalities or documentation. Initiating this process will allow our family to begin the grieving process and address matters related to her absence. While no declaration can truly ease our grief, we trust that this step will bring some closure and enable us to honor her memory. Rebe took the stand yesterday at his hearing and said that he had met with Sudiksha's family and her mom thanked him for trying to save her daughter. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office also issued a statement saying they no longer consider Rebe a person of interest in her disappearance. They emailed me a statement saying, quote, it's an ongoing investigation, but in that regard, he is not a person of interest anymore in that he's been interviewed as part of the case. It's still not a criminal investigation in any way from our perspective. He is not considered a suspect by us, end quote. According to CBS News, on the stand yesterday, Rebe said, quote, I really want to go home and see my family. I understand I'm here to help, but it's been 10 days. I want to turn to a Morgan & Morgan legal alert. Emerging reports reveal that hair color products may not come with clear warnings.
Bro, get out of here.
State University in Minnesota. He met Sudiksha the night she went missing. The two are seen on this surveillance video per Dominican media outlet Noticias SIN heading to the beach with friends at 4:15 in the morning on March 6th. And you can see Rebe's arm around Sudiksha. And while their friends are seen returning to the hotel at 5:55 a.m., Rebe and Konanki stayed behind. Rebe said the two kissed in the water and were hit by a big wave and brought back to sea. Rebe told investigators that he tried to save Sudiksha by dragging her back to the shore, swimming to safety, and in his version of events, Sudiksha walked off once they were in knee-deep water and he never saw her again. He claims to have thrown up from drinking so much seawater during the rescue and didn't see her when he looked up. He's next seen on surveillance video returning to the hotel alone at 9:55 a.m. That's after he says he fell asleep on a beach chair only to be woken up by the brightness of the sun and the bites of mosquitoes. From there, it's been an international mystery about what happened to Sudiksha Konanki. There have never been reports of foul play, and Rebe has never been accused of a crime, even though Dominican authorities have reportedly claimed Rebe's story to be inconsistent. These are images of a cover-up found on a beach chair believed to belong to Sudiksha per Dominican media outlet CDN. Her sandals were also found, and that raises doubts if she ever made it back to shore. Interpol, the international police agency, put out a missing persons notice for the the 20-year-old, a sign of the international traction that this story has had beyond the Caribbean nation. Rebe has continued to cooperate with authorities. He's been seen at the beach with investigators multiple times, and the Dominican Attorney General even interviewed Rebe for 6 hours, according to ABC News. And according to a leaked transcript of an interview Rebe gave authorities that included dozens of questions, his lawyers reportedly advised him not to answer multiple questions. Investigators asked, quote, "How can we verify what you said is true?" And Rebe responded, "My lawyers advised me not to answer that question, and I will rely on them." He used that answer several more times in that interview to questions like, "What do you think about the disappearance? Did you know the young woman? Do you remember if the young woman made any gestures or screamed while in the sea? Did you report to the authorities or the hotel what happened with you and the girl on the beach? Did you tell your friend what happened with you and the girl on the beach?" All to which the report says Rebe answered, quote, "My lawyers advised me not to answer that question, and I will rely on them." The report said investigators told Rebe it was his right not to answer questions. He had 2 lawyers with him for that interview. Now, people in Rebe's hometown in Iowa have stood by him. The local sheriff posted this letter that was signed by Rebe family friends in support of him this week. And in the days following his name coming to light in this story, a neighbor said that they would bet their life that he had nothing to do with Sudiksha's disappearance. And while Rebe is in the Dominican Republic, he continues to stay at the Rio Republica, which is where he arrived for spring break before March 6th, and where Konanki was staying as well. Konanki was a junior at the University of Pittsburgh. She planned to study pre-med in the spring when she returned from spring break with the hopes of one day working in a career in medicine. Joining us now is criminal defense attorney Kesia Early. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here on Law and Crime. What do you make of what we saw play out in this Dominican courtroom yesterday?
A lot of chaos. It's not organized as you would think that a U.S. courtroom would be. The rules of procedures, how this quote suspect / witness / person of interest is being treated. His position is that they're treating him like a suspect. They're detaining him. They're not allowing him to leave. They're watching his every move, even when he eats. And then the opposing position is, no, we are just making sure he's safe, but we're not detaining him. And obviously that is far from the truth. But then also there was a question about his passport and the whereabouts of his passport, so he can leave. It's been almost 11 days that he has been held, even after she was presumed dead. And there's a question as to whether or not his passport was either seized or if he voluntarily gave it up and they cannot find it. So there was a lot of questions and a lot of unanswered responses to and from the court regarding where he stands as a suspect or a person of interest.
Well, because that's, the person of interest line came from a sheriff's office here in the U.S., and at least the line that Dominican authorities have been giving is that he is a witness to a missing persons case. At the same time, they have interviewed him multiple times. The Attorney General for the Dominican Republic reportedly interviewed him for 6 hours. That to me does not sound like someone that you would just have as a witness in a missing persons case. What more do you think Dominican authorities are doing here? Why are they being so robust with Josh Rebe?
Well, because he was the last person that was seen with her alive, right? And we know that there were circumstances that appears to be possibly foul play that was later ruled that it was not. We know that both Mr. Riibe and the victim in this case were intoxicated, and intoxication and water is not a good mix. In this case, there was reports that they were kissing in waist-high water, and then a tide came and kind of took them both underwater. But here's where the issue comes in, is that he had previous experience as a lifeguard. He allegedly rescued her the first time, but then he took in water and he had to help himself and just assumed that she was okay. She grabbed her stuff and left. I believe that they was investigated him deeply because of some of the inconsistencies in his statements, and that they had no other suspects or no other leads. So they wanted to make sure, possibly before this blossomed into him being a suspect and placing him under arrest, what, if any, culpability did he have in her death, of which she is presumed to be dead? So I think the issue is Was it truly a case of him rescuing her and thinking everything was okay, or was there foul play? Did she resist his advances, and did he kill her? We don't know, and I think that that's where the issue comes in at.
Right, because as much as there's been no evidence of foul play. He's never been considered a suspect, but he does tell this story, a very dramatic rescue that took place in the water that you would have to be a really skilled swimmer to be able to rescue someone like that. But then they find her clothes, and there's really
while drunk,
no evidence that she ever made it back to shore. So you have that part of the story that you can definitely be suspicious of. But then you see this court hearing that plays out. And yesterday, just hearing the Dominican prosecutors argue almost like a different reality from what I think most people would agree with in just believing that he was being confined to his room. How common is it, and I know you're not an expert in Dominican law, but to see those types of arguments made in courtrooms in this type of hearing?
Well, we know it's a different structure, right? The United States is bound by the Constitution that you're innocent until proven guilty, and every accused is entitled to due process, as opposed to having their rights constrained and not being able to move. In this case, we see that he is really being treated as a suspect, and the prosecutors are saying things differently. The real question is he free to leave? And if so, where's his passport so that he can leave this country? He has been maintaining his innocence, and he has been cooperating, although, as you can see, there's some inconsistencies. But the question is, are those inconsistencies enough to hold him? You also have to know that he was intoxicated, heavily intoxicated, to the point where after he left the water, he passed out for a few hours, and then he left the beach. So are these inconsistencies tied with his intoxication, which in the United States is not a defense to any crime?
Exactly.
Or is it tied to him trying to evade law enforcement, and did he have any involvement in her disappearance?
She knows her shit. Thank you. That shit will not hold up in court. If you were found guilty, if you knew something, if you was that suspect. It's not, bro, listen to that last part.
In the United States is not a defense to any crime. Or is it tied to him trying to evade law enforcement and
clearly, but I'm not sitting here saying that he choked her and drowned her. It just looks like this fucking idiot, like someone took her, or she drifted into the sea, drowned, and he's like, shit, I lost her. Where is she? Sudiksha. Hours pass. A couple of hours passed. He's still looking. Sudiksha. Fuck, man. Fuck. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? You can't see her. It's dark. The water. They're both drunk.
Did he have any involvement in her disappearance? But I don't think they have enough to the point where her parents even hugged him, thanked him for saving her life the first time. So clearly they believe that she was drowning the first time, and maybe her intoxication led to her death, where she thought that she was leaving the shore and ended up being taken back in with the tide. So there's so many unanswered questions. And I do believe ultimately they will let him go. They're going to find that missing passport if you believe that it's missing, or they may be buying time to hopefully find her body. And if they see signs of force, then they have enough to hold him. So I believe that they do have his passport. It's my opinion that maybe they're holding on to it until if and when her body does show up.
You saw that? They want to solve this case. I'm telling you. lost his passport. Nah, man. You guys want to keep him there.
And there's signs of, let's say, strangulation or defense wounds, that may be a sign of attack, that may be a sign of struggle, and that may be sufficient evidence for them to hold him longer.
And it felt like, too, coming out of this court hearing yesterday, is a bit of a catch-22, because on one hand, you have the judge saying that he can no longer be held under police supervision, but at the same time, we don't know where his passport is. Apparently, he voluntarily gave it to authorities, but then yesterday, the authorities, prosecutors at least, were saying that they don't know where it is, and the judge said that that hearing wasn't the venue to talk about it. What does, if you had to guess, his next court hearing is March 28th. What does the next several days look like for Josh Riibe?
Well, he does have additional ways to obtain a passport. I mean, look, people lose their passports all the time. If you go on a cruise, if you go out of the country, this is where the U.S. Embassy, maybe his attorney in the U.S. can apply for a duplicate passport. So that's really not a main issue. So if the authorities are saying that they don't have his passport, if I'm his attorney, I'm looking for alternative resources to get a duplicate passport to get him out of there, especially if they're saying that he's not being held against his will, or he's no longer a person of interest, he's no longer even a suspect or considered a suspect. Then go to alternate routes into securing another passport to get him out of there. I mean, he's made it very clear he wants his life back, but I'm gonna tell you something, it's going to be very hard. His face, his video, that video of him walking back shirtless, barefoot, has been plastered all over the media. It's going to be a long process. And this is the issue when you're dealing with someone who is considered a person of interest, but society and a court of public opinion looks at you as you had some involvement, especially if this case is never solved. Yep. So he has a lot to deal with. But the first course of business is, if they're maintaining that they don't have his passport, there's alternative routes to get it.
Yeah, and the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, which she lived outside Washington, D.C., was the one that coined the term person of interest in this case, and it was related to a missing person investigation. But to your point with the court of public opinion, when you hear person of interest, it just ramps up the attention. It certainly did in this case, though the Sheriff's Office yesterday said that they don't consider him that anymore. You do have this statement from her family, who came forward and said they don't believe he had anything to do with it as far as foul play is concerned. They want her death to be declared by Dominican authorities. What impact could that have on the legal process that's now playing out in the Dominican Republic? That's a very good
question.
A huge impact, because normally the family of the victims drive an investigation, they drive the prosecution, they have to get authority or the victim's family's consent to sometimes plea negotiations. So if you're having the family, the parents of the victim in this case saying, we believe him so much so that we want you to declare her dead, so close into the investigation or presume that she's missing, it shows that there may be a possibility that this case will be closed. Her death will not be ruled as a homicide, possibly a accidental drowning. And when you look at all of the circumstances,
how is this happening? I fucking hate this so much. I tell me you guys heard that, right?
Close into the investigation or presume that she's missing, it shows that there may be a possibility that this case will be closed. Her death will not be ruled as a homicide, possibly a accidental drowning. And when you look at all of the circumstances in this case, when you're dealing with a decomposing body or a body, normally after it's the decomposition, it's buoyant, it will float. So if they have not found her body, and you're talking about over 300 searchers who have been searching, a rescue team who has been searching for her body and haven't found no sign, no evidence, it could be possible that her body was taken out to the vast sea and may never be found. And I just think that this is the way that the family can have closure and begin to heal from this tragic event.
And I don't know if they would want to take this approach.
I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm not. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to be nice, but it's so hard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I would not give up on my daughter. I mean this respectfully, guys. Am I being nice? I don't know how to say this kindly. I don't know how to say this kindly. I don't know how to say this kindly. Memes, thank you for the $4.99. It says the Interpol has issued a yellow notice alerting agencies globally in the disappearance of the student. Well, that's good news. You know, we want that. Thank you for telling me that. I didn't know this. Yo, I'm so mad at a girl, at someone that's not my daughter, bro. I cannot understand that. Don't give up on her, man. This is gonna inspire to close this case. Oh God, bro, this is like, yo, I can't, man.
Or even if they could. But I think of this resort, which has said they've fully cooperated with the authorities. This was an all-inclusive resort where you go and you have access to as much alcohol as you want 24 hours a day. But you know, you look at it and you say that no one really stopped these individuals from going to the beach at 4:15 in the morning after they had clearly been, throwing up. Surveillance video shows them at the bar, clearly very intoxicated. I feel like in the United States, if that would be some grounds that someone would try to file a lawsuit. What's the reality of that when you're dealing with the Dominican Republic or one of these all-inclusive resorts that you know what you sign up for in the Caribbean?
Yeah, it depends on the laws of the particular state. But typically, if you're dealing with at a bar and the bartender sees that you're clearly intoxicated, the liability will then shift if they continue to serve you. But in this case, just as you stated, you're talking about an all-inclusive resort. I'm pretty sure there were multiple bars. So it makes it even harder for the bartender to know whether or not or how many drinks you had, especially if after she threw up, she went to another bartender and got a separate drink without that bartender's previous knowledge of her intoxication. And also, like you said, it's an all-inclusive resort. So I think that liability is going to be hard to attach. She went on her own free will. And I just think that this is just a tragic situation. And the all-inclusive resort, the bartenders, the bar should not be held liable for this tragedy.
Yeah, and I think it probably speaks to, when you think of the differences in laws, you know, all-inclusive resorts don't really exist in the United States the way they do in other countries, probably for, you're the attorney, I'm not, but from a liability standpoint, this is probably an example why. Just lastly, I think of Josh Riibe, if he is telling the truth and he really was just trying to be cooperative in the beginning, hands over his passport to authorities. You know, he's in a foreign country, but wants to help in any way he can. And now he's in this legal limbo. The criminal defense attorney, for people watching this story, what is your advice when it comes to certainly wanting to help people, but then at the same time, and then you see this hearing yesterday where the version of events from prosecutors, where it feels like they're really trying to turn things around on them. From a criminal defense attorney's standpoint, what's your advice to somebody when it comes to handling these types of cases?
From the onset, even if you're innocent, it's best to remain silent. It's your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and do can and will be used against you in the court of law. And even if you think that you're assisting the investigation, it's best to go with an attorney, because we will advise and guide you on what to say, how to say it, because again, we are protecting your best interests. Oftentimes, people who have no involvement want to help, but then they talk themselves into an arrest or into a detainment, as you see in this case. But I think the issue with his case is, if this was truly a dramatic rescue from her drowning, you mentioned nothing about it after you regained your consciousness from.
Thank you. Thank you. Say that again. Educated. Not because she fits my narrative, but it's common sense. And common sense isn't so common.
drowning. You mentioned nothing about it after you regained your consciousness from your hangover to no one. So I think that's where it smells kind of fishy. Like, wait a minute, you said that you helped her from drowning, but you tell no one, you don't ask about her whereabouts, you just assume that she made it home safe. So I think that's what the public has an issue with, that he didn't say anything until he was considered a suspect. But unfortunately, again, there's not sufficient evidence to hold him. And I think the Dominican Republic and the USC's that they have to eventually let him go.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Interesting now that you think of the State Department being involved in terms of getting his passport back, how quick that process could play out. There are no charges. The family seems to have even thanked him for attempting to save their daughter. Just a real tragic story all around that I know in the beginning many people were hoping for a happy ending in some way. Kesia Early, criminal defense attorney, thank you for taking the time to be with us here on Law and Crime. This is a really important story that we've been following.
I recommend everyone not to give up. I'm still doing the podcast, right? You see me here today? This is me doing, I'm doing something. I'm doing something here. I'm a little disgusted in a way, yo. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna hide my feelings for nobody. I'm not hiding my feelings for nobody, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm a little disgusted. Okay, let's see here. Where did he say that he was? Let me see. Yeah, I'm not, bro. I'm not giving up. I don't have to be my daughter. That don't have to be my sister, my cousin. It don't have to be none of that. It's just a girl that needs help, whether she's alive or not. It's just, I'm not going to do that. For all we know, she could be alive somewhere. You'd be surprised. I'm telling you. You'd be surprised. Okay, so the newest video. Okay, so I'm not going to show that actually. All right. 125. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to call it actually. I was going to show one more updated video. This was posted like 40 minutes ago while the stream was happening. But I like to read it before anything because I don't want it to be, a repetition of what I just seen already. Or what you guys just heard, excuse me. So I want to be very clear here. Yeah, so I think I'm going to conclude this podcast for today. I know somebody mentioned that there's another case. I know there's like those missing two girls. Guys, submit things to the Discord. I'll look at all. Go to Discord. Make sure you join Discord, okay? And submit things. You guys are wonderful in the chat today, by the way. It was a nice, chill chat today. I'm just so hurt by that because now that I know that what happens once the parents write the letter and sign it off that they believe she's deceased, I can give them my love, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I agree. And I don't agree. I don't agree. It's just... Did you see what happened with the airplane at LaGuardia Airport? Yes, I heard about that. I definitely did. Don't worry, guys. We're going to do these mini podcasts. That's going to be for members. That's why I tell people to join if you can, if you want to. Because we're going to do extra podcasts. They're like mini podcasts. So it's going to be 15 to 25 minutes for you to enjoy a podcast with me privately, members only. And we're going to have those types of things that you just mentioned to us. Because there are certain stories that do pick up where I'm not going to talk about for a whole hour, 2 hours. That's considered a lengthy podcast. So instead, I'm going to do mini podcasts. So you see The Crown next to Brown Sugar, Progressively, Adventure of Robin. You see Netta, Breezy, Cole, Ricky, Pam. All those are members. So if you want, join a family. You're going to get those added to your perk additionally. All right? I'm so sorry for my energy at the end of this podcast, guys. I'm just not happy. Like I don't like how this is going. I really wish, you know what I'm saying? Like this girl is not even, she haven't, respectfully, she has not washed up. So you know what? I'm not going to give you my opinion just yet. I changed my mind, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give this poor girl, she should have been washed up. I'm going to give her 4 to 7 days. If she did die, I hope not. I don't mean to say that. If there's no turn up, I'm going to change my opinion on what happened to her. I'm going to give you guys my answers in 5 days. I'm still going to talk about this, by the way. I'm not giving up. So, yeah. So please hit the like and subscribe button. I would appreciate that, especially if you are brand new. This is the perfect time to do that, okay? Why did I change my mind? I changed my mind because I don't want to give my answer. I have hope in my heart. I do. As people, you have believe in God, right? You have faith in your heart. Well, I have hope in my heart. I do. I have hope. I'm still gonna think that she's with us. I'm still gonna think that, there's some type of fucking something. There's something. There's something here. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like, subscribe before you go. Follow the second YouTube channel, also University 2.0 over at YouTube. Just in case if something happens to the channel, you know where to find me. You go to the YouTube page, University, and then you go all the way to the bottom. You see my 2 YouTube channels. Subscribe to them both. I would appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Thank you to my members. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me at this true crime story with the missing 20-year-old from Pittsburgh University, Sudiksha Konanki. Girl, I'm doing my part. You're still out there. If your body has not been found, you're still out there. You matter. Okay? I would never give up on one of you guys in the chat. I would not. So why would I give up on her? It's fucking get the fuck out of here, bro. Do good and die great. All right? Stay safe, please. And girls, don't travel by yourself. Please. And don't take drinks from strangers. I don't give a fuck how old you are. 60 years old, 80, 70, don't fucking do it. Travel with a friend, be okay. If you're going to go on vacay or go party, take a trustworthy friend, okay? And protect yourself. I love you.